Just your casual Sunday reading a book that relates to real life. Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the revocation of the DEI programs all around the federal government and kind of trickling down into private sectors. We are not even going to talk about the coded language throughout this entire article it's not even an article, his update on his blog, I guess, on the White House's website. But we're going to talk about how Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote the original Tipping Point, revisits this idea of how tipping points occur and what are the implications or maybe even science behind what makes a tipping point happen. And he does this by going into the very controversial affirmative action within the world of college admissions. Before we even get to this whole concept of college admissions and affirmative action and magic third, I'm going to give you a heads up. This will be a long video. I'll probably do multiple parts to this. Feel free to do 1.5 speed by clicking here or here. Okay, so Gladwell really explores this concept of the magic third, and it was brought upon by sociologist Rosabeth Cantor. Put it simply, she was really fascinated about finding out what was the point at which that there would be a windfall of actions. So essentially, the actual tipping point. What number was that? Or what proportion was that in order for mass change to happen and tip over, right? This is where Gladwell actually got inspired by his last book, the most eponymous book, The Tipping Point. But essentially, she was tasked specifically with helping to understand how the white flight happened. If you don't know anything about the white flight, it was this concept where there was a mass exodus and movement of white neighborhoods and white people whenever they had people of color, especially African Americans, moving into a nicer area. And obviously this is during the Jim Crow era, etc. And what Cantor found out was that there was a specific number of houses on a given street that actually implicated this mass exodus of white people and also the takeover of the entire neighborhood to be a certain gender, ethnicity, etc. And there was no turning back from this. But this is not about white flight. This is not about the takeover of white neighborhoods with black people or Asian people or whatever. We're going to talk about college admissions and why DEI is the core. And we're going to talk about why DEI is important from a diversity perspective, and the revocation of DEI programs within the federal government is a huge mistake. I mean, I don't think that's an overstatement, because I think everyone would agree. However, this is obviously racially coded, and it always has been. So fast forward from that, we just needed to understand what the tipping point meant. So the next thing he looked at was the phenomena of female CEOs and leaders in corporate companies, especially the S&P 500 companies. He goes specifically into how when there's only one woman on the board or as a leader, she's not really taken seriously. If anything, she's seen as the exception, not the rule. She's seen because you are here, because you are special, you are tokenized, you are not seen beyond anything barriers to your race, to your gender, etc., because you are special. And not all women or black women or Asian women are seen this way. And so when they looked specifically into this, they found that when there were 2 women, they were still tokenized in a boardroom of 10. And when there were 3 women, actually, this is when the barriers started to break. These women were not only seen as just, oh, it's just Shirley's idea or Susan's idea and she's smart enough to be here. You're so brave for being here. You're so lucky. You've heard it all. They started to be seen as not necessarily equals, but had a voice beyond the means of their gender and their identity, and rather their value, their merit, what they bring to the table. All right, we're reaching 4 minutes, so we're going to go to part 2.